The world of business is fast-paced, digitally driven, and ever-changing. Now, to sustain and grow your business in this environment, you need solutions that will give your business exactly what it needs to thrive. Now, and that's where the Vodafone Ready Business Test comes in. It shows you exactly where your business stands and provides expert advice on how you can transform your business using technology. Let Vodafone help you take your business to the next level. Visit vodafone.com.gh business and click on how ready are you to take the free test now, or simply call on 0800 1000 or 030 233 4040. The future is exciting. Ready?
All right, 7:25, and as always, like today as well, we're refreshed by the special, ice drinks. Indeed, this one, your special energy. We have the special malts, which comes in different flavors. We're talking the apple, the special oranges, special cola, special grape, strawberry, and you can name it. The list goes on and on and on. If you want to feel like we always feel on this show, and I'm talking special, you probably want to be looking for some of these drinks as well. If indeed you are a wholesaler and you need some for wholesaling or even retailing, you can call the number 0266-322-321. That is 0266-322-321. Special soft drinks feel special, and I'm feeling special. I'm sure that our guests as well are feeling special. And we've been asking the question this morning: if indeed you were birthed by a woman, I'm sure that you want to be sending in, some messages to be celebrating these great women in your lives. As well, if you are a woman, tell us what makes you feel special as a woman. Okay, we'll be sharing a couple of, those details with you as we go along. But remember, though, that we're going to be as well taking you live to Star 103.5 FM, where Second Lady Mrs. Samira Baumia is hosting a panel of all female, and they're still talking women issues across board the EIB platforms, which of course includes Live FM, Kasapa FM Ultimate, all over the country today. We're celebrating all of you wonderful women. So to you, all the women that I know and those that I do not even know, I want to say congratulations today for how far that we have come. Lerato, we have our guests already seated.
Yeah, and just quickly before I introduce our guests to us, just on our messages, some are already asking, Kafui is not present today. Hope he is fine. That's one of the messages. Kafui is very fine today.
He's tweeting so much about the show.
Because of today's International Women's Day, I decided to step in as a woman to co-host with another woman. So today on our screens, as far as you're watching GH1 TV, you should embrace yourself for a lot of women, because we will be giving you this. And then one of them says, good morning, Beswa and co-host. Women have always been special, but some of them are extraordinary, citing my mom, Georgina Obeng Menu. I salute the topmost ladies of Ghana, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo and Mrs. Samira Baumia, for the enormous contributions to the livelihood of humanity. Kudos to them. I therefore encourage all women to realize what they have in them and accordingly use that to affect the society positively, but not social vices. That is from Emma Ed Ofin. So what a very powerful message to start our conversation. But before we do, let me quickly introduce our guests, looking all ravishing and beautiful, beautifully adorned in the African attires. Very welcome to me. Just on my right is Hajia Abibata Shani Mahama Zakaria, the Deputy CEO of Maslock. And Beswa, would you do me the honors of introducing just on my far right there?
Yes. So Reverend Bijou Birch, she's Programs Officer at WebNet, and WebNet is the West Africa Network for Peace Building. Ladies, you're welcome once again to the show. It's International Women's Day today. How do you feel, first of all, being a woman?
You want me to start? Good morning, and thank you for having us here this morning. I work for the West African Network for Peace Building, which is WANEP and not WIPNET. Okay. WIPNET actually is the program for women in peace building across West Africa. As a woman, I feel very good. As a matter of fact, I feel very good every day because I'm a woman every day, but today I feel extra good because it's an opportunity to remind the entire world that men and women are equal, have equal opportunities, and women give birth, and women carry peace, women carry joy. And without women, the world is not complete. You cannot talk about development in a country without talking about women. You cannot talk about peace in a country without talking about women. So today is really a great day, and I feel really good.
Should have equal opportunities.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So is obviously ready to dive into the discussions, but let's get the intro.
Tell us how she feels as well.
Yeah, first of all, good morning to you and your cherished viewers.
Right.
I feel very special as a woman. First of all, I'm a mother of 4, and then touching the lives of women, impacting women in our society and young girls is something that I am very passionate about. And today being International Women's Day, I know it's a movement for the protection of rights for women, and then equality, gender equality, and all of those good things that come with women. Wherever we are, we make a difference, and I feel very special being a woman this morning.
And of course, I know Lerato wants to, kickstart this whole session.
No, obviously, I'm going to be so... I'm not even going to pretend.
Right.
I mean, it's our day today.
I know, right?
Let's have fun. I'm going to be so biased and go straight.
And
go straight to you, Reverend Boudreaux, because I'm so interested in the work that you guys are doing, and so very interestingly enough, that just yesterday we had elections in Sierra Leone, and I know that as part of your mission is to also observe such cases. Are you present in Freetown, and can you just tell us quickly what's happening then, your involvement in the whole process?
That's a very interesting question. As a matter of fact, we are very much involved in Sierra Leone elections. We started this process since last year, about almost 10 months ago, because for us, election is not an event, it's a process, before, during, and after. So WANEP has been working in Sierra Leone. WANEP is in all the 15 member states of ECOWAS, and WANEP, Sierra Leone is included. So we've been working there, trying to map out the hotspots and trying to set up what we call an election response group that's made up of eminent people. So we've been monitoring what has been happening and having some responses.
And so far, so good.
So far, so good.
I don't want to take us out of topic, though. That was just meeting a news person and wanting to know what is happening. However, today it's International Women's Day, and one of the key, first, most important topics that we want to engage in with you as women is that outmoded cultural, practices against women. That is like female genital mutilation, widowhood, witches' camps, etc. Now, on this particular subject matter, what is your stand, Hajija, on such? Do you think these practices are outdated? Should we still be having such practices today? What is your stand on this?
Actually, I think those practices are outdated, and we shouldn't continue to have those ones. For example, talking about female mutilation, we all know the negative effects that come with it. Some of them become barren as a result of that. They go through a lot of pain in marriages, and I don't think even the process of doing it is hygienic enough for such a practice to continue in this day and age. So such practices obviously are outdated, and they are not things that we should encourage to happen. I know as part of the policies of government, they are doing all that they can to bring all these negative practices down, and then other than finding alternatives to making women feel very good and then important. But with female mutilation, for example, I don't think it's a practice that should be encouraged and it should be abandoned.
Yeah. Reverend,
yes,
your take?
I actually think it's an outright violation of the rights of the women and the girls that are victims of these practices. And something very interesting we found out is that the women who are involved in this, strangely enough, women champion these things, because the space for leadership for women in these communities are so small. These women feel empowered when they are given this position to, for instance, help mutilate the young girls, and then also shave the head of their peers who have lost their spouses. So it gives them some kind of relevance in their community. again, because they have not been empowered. So they are given these roles to play, and they
what
don't
about the
do
witches'
it.
camps?
Yes.
Are you familiar with those? And who are the ones leading these camps? Is it women?
The witches camp, one aspect of it is we are not being able to educate our people or homes, spouses about or this story of a woman growing up and having menopause. So when the menopause symptoms come, they classify us as a witch, and people start having dreams. Absolutely, it is wrong. We have to stop it. And then the government must take steps. It has been there for years. NGOs, international NGOs have intervened several times. But I think it's time for us to rise up and have a serious campaign about it and walk the talk and take our
and this call we have made time without number. I think my focus, and indeed, I think that I agree with the theme for the year that suggests that maybe we should be more aggressive in our push for all of these issues that we're championing in our communities for women. Widowhood right issues as well, big deal.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Ajia, how can we best deal with issues of this nature?
What we can do, I think it starts with us women. Women, we can start it through the right stakeholders. For example, with this kind of widowhood practices and those things, those were things that were done in the past, and most of the things come with some kind of superstitions. Now, women are more informed. There is a lot of education going on. NGOs, other women groups, they talk to people, they get them into active participation of some of these social interventions, and now they are more informed and they know that this kind of things, we cannot take them anymore. Whatever people say are based on superstitions which cannot be proven. So it's high time we stop those practices, and then let's open our minds, let's get more education and know that whatever they say is not what actually it is, through research. And honestly, we could go on forever on this particular subject alone, but there's so many issues, so many social issues, and all of them involve us women. Let's move over to politics. I mean, women in politics, are numbers encouraging? If you want me to begin with the NPP manifesto, for example, the promise was that 30%, at least 30% of women will be given in public positions, occupy a public office. And as we sit now, the president has been able to appoint 27% of women in public offices, which is very significant. We are just left with 3%, and we are just in the first months, like 13 months. So if we are able to come this far, I believe that by the end of even the 4 years, we can even go beyond whatever promise.
And Reverend, your take on, are the numbers encouraging for you?
If we are having 27% and our target is 30%, I will say we are doing quite well, but we can do much better than that. Yes, I think we should be able to do. If in the first 13 months, as she said, we have 27%. What about?
Let's talk about this position and power. Still in politics, there's a say that it's a woman empowerment, window dressing, putting a woman in place because you want to satisfy the targets and the stats. Like you said, we are now in 27%. But now, in this 27%, how many of the women put in these positions are actually in a position of power? Key positions that are able to drive, I beg your pardon, change. Now, we can put someone in a position, but some of the positions don't have a power.
Sure.
Out of all the women, the 27% we have there, how many women can we point out politically, even in our parliament, that actually have real power?
You spoke very well.
Or are we simply just being told we are putting women there so that we can keep quiet and stop complaining?
I think we should rise about
because we need women inclusion.
Women, yes.
You have to justify that inclusion.
Absolutely. I think we should move above the tokenism of putting women because they have to be there. Interestingly, last week we were having the revision of the National Action Plan for Ghana based on the 1325. And then I was having a conversation with the Honorable Deputy Minister for the Gender Ministry. I was having a conversation with, and then I was like, so how do women perform in Parliament? And somebody said, oh, when you are new in Parliament, you are put at the back, and then you are not so vocal. And so I said, okay, we build the women to be able to talk. They go there, they don't talk, we don't hear from them. Because they are so they put them. So what happens? Putting women there and giving them the authority and the power to act, they are two different things. You don't put them because we want the numbers. If you put them, they allow them to talk, allow them to do what they are supposed to do. Let their presence be felt because they are experts, they have expertise. It's not just a woman we want. As she's an expert, allow her to function as such.
I think that as well, we should be looking at the other side where, you know, time without number, we have seen that some women themselves, even given the opportunity, are not able to live up to expectations. Are we ready in the struggle?
We are ready. Talking about people in position and having power, I can count up to 9 substantive ministers within the current government who are doing fantastic things. Talk about Gloria Kufu, Attorney General's Department, Ministry. She is doing fantastic. Haji Alima, local government. Eslowusu, Minister of Communications. Otiko Afisa Jaba. She's done so many things so far with PR work. Even prior to this day, she's engaged in so many activities, educating women, reaching out to women, and a lot more of the women who are actually in power are doing very well.
So in other words, we've got more women doing well than those who are not doing so well. Now, let's wrap up with the political part. Before we do, though, I'll give you a chance just now based on. Are we then ready? Is Ghana ready for a female president? Are we too far away from that? Because now we're still talking about how 27%. You know, we have people like your Joyce Banda, Honorable Joyce Banda, who was a president in all right. We have people like Sir Leif Johnson, who was a president in Liberia. You know, and we have the likes of Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma in South Africa, who was a deputy at a certain point, or actually contested to be a president of a party, but obviously Sir Ramaphosa won, you know, and is now the president. So many kids. But in Ghana, when we talk about our women, most of the time we go to our first ladies, you know, and I'm not saying there's anything bad to being a first lady, but we're looking for women who are not going to hold key positions by reason of association or marriage, you know, but rather, you know, of our credibility, what you are pioneering for the nation. Very interesting.
It's an interesting question that you ask. We've seen former First Lady Benjamin Rawlings, you know, running for this position that you ask about, and unfortunately, she didn't get the support.
Is it because we are not ready?
So, Reverend, we want to hear from you. Do you think that as a country, we are ready to see a woman take over the mantle of reign?
I don't really see it. I don't think we have enough men allies to work with. Women are ready, but if we take the entire nation, I'm not seeing too many people who are ready for female leadership as a president. Unfortunately, that tells me that we need to do a lot of work. We need to really sensitize. We really need to show that women are capable. We have capable women who can do that. But as I listen to the political discourse, the landscape, you will see that it's all driven towards men. We are not engendered enough in this.
So sex is still an issue.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I'm looking at wrapping it up on the issue of politics, because then if you cast your minds back since 1957, we've been trying to put in mergers to rope in women, you know, when it comes to issues of governance. And today we sit here and ask questions like, are we ready? Are the women themselves ready?
Yes, women.
What will it take for us to get there? I know it's not a Ghana issue, it's a global issue.
Yeah, it is.
You know, we definitely have made some strides, but what will it take, Haja, and I'm coming to you, what will it take for us to be able to at least make that mark?
Like you rightly said, we are in a society where men are dominant, but women, some few women in this country have proven that we are capable. Women are capable, doing the right things at the right time, getting our people know the kind of works we do, and letting them know that wherever we are, it's not because we are considered, but we are capable and we are qualified in whatever we are doing. I think with the mindset and then showcasing our works, good works, and all of that, it will contribute to people having a different perception about women being in the background, but rather championing issues.
Can I add something? Yes. I see a paradox when we are being told that political arena is dirty, and then you need to be strong to be there. When the woman is strong, she gets in there, she's labeled as being dirty, and she's a woman.
And that's where they develop the dead goat syndrome.
Exactly. So you see the paradox. We are ready. You are ready. They tell you, no, you are a woman, so you are not supposed to be like that.
As a matter of fact, we've always been ready.
Yes,
I mean, the books of history suggest, rather from my research, Ghana, that even the kingdom of Ashanti was won over many decades ago by a queen mother. So for me, the question of readiness should not pop out now. If those years back in the histories of Ghana, a woman, a queen mother, was able to be courageous and bold enough to fight for her people, which is the Ashanti kingdom, how much more years, what's the difference? Especially now, in addition to technology advancement and education, and so forth, women have it. We've always had the capacity.
Could we now then, could we probably, you know, put the blame squarely on our doorsteps as women leaders now? And I'm moving now to the various sectors that you work. Haja, you work with the Maslock. What role have you played in nurturing or mentoring all of these women that work with you? Exactly what role have you played?
Yeah, okay. Talking about Maslock, Maslock is an institution that is supposed to take care of the productive poor. And looking at macrofinance, you know, a lot of women are the backbone of our economy. So with this current administration, what we have really set out to do is to ensure that 50% of whatever we are giving out to people are devoted to women. And we have started that. We have one of the products, which is microcredit. And microcredit is just simply group loans. We have this kind of women who are into petty trading. Some of them in the interlands, they just need 500 Ghana cedis or 1,000 Ghana cedis to start a business. So with us, what we are saying to help women is to encourage these women, get them the necessary resources that they need, and not just giving the funds to them, getting some kind of training for these women and letting them to know how to manage the funds when given to them, and then empowerment. So we have a lot of sessions, for example, training that we roll out to women who come for funds, and then you educate them that the funds are not only given to you to do anything, but to invest in your business, and then in so doing, we are empowering them, and they are able to take care of
And how impactful has that been? Can you share at least one success story?
The success story, actually, it's there because, you know, for example, Maslow, before we assumed office, we weren't so much into the districts. Now, as I speak to you, we have 216 districts across Ghana. That makes it very closer to the women. For example, if you have your district offices, it's like we are getting very closer to them in assisting them get this kind of help that I am talking about. And with getting the districts economically viable, we are getting these women to be in charge of whatever they are doing. For example, looking at this Kaya thing, that they have taken out the market tools from the Kaya, most of them will definitely go back to the districts when they know that, okay, now my district has a lot of projects or development things that I can partake and to make a difference. Instead of coming here, being in the scorching sun, carrying, and some of them have babies at their back, they will rather go back to their districts and contribute their quota to making things better. So in that regard, I would say that it's something that we can be proud of. And we are still poised to do more.
Indeed, and you're doing this because you're working in an organization where that is supposed to be that structure.
Sure.
I'm sure that as individuals as well.
For example, personally, I have mentored a lot of young girls, even though I haven't gotten to where I want to. But at least I am an inspiration to some of them. I talk to them, and then sometimes financially, whatever form that I am able to, I do. Yeah.
Now, Reverend, I know you probably also been You already touched on how you guys are doing work all over Peace Commission, and I'll link it up to what we just mentioned now with the Queen Mother of the Ashanti Kingdom and everything. Wouldn't you see that as if she were present today, she'd probably be working together with you because it's part of the peace, fighting. Tell us a bit more about the role of women. If you talk about peacekeeping and all that, people usually think about army, we think about male men, and now women in peacekeeping. What is the role of women in what you do?
What we do is women in peace building, the role and the participation of women in peace and security throughout West Africa. When you are talking about peacekeeping operations, for instance, one of the things I'm looking forward to in this our motherland, Ghana, is that the policies on making women participate in combat, for instance, there should be some kind of reforms in their policy that will allow more women to go on peacekeeping missions instead of relegating them to administrative roles only. So I'm looking forward to that. So you will see that we are working towards that. And then there are many women who we have been building their capacity to be able to participate in peace and security issues. We've been working very closely with the National Peace Council, and we've been working with the women there. I think about 2 years ago, I had an interaction with Queen Mothers and their role. And I totally agree with you that Queen Mothers have a big role to play when we are talking about peace and security in our nation. So, yes, we need to build their capacity, and they have the know-how, they have the opportunity, their position allows them to positively contribute and be visible in what they are doing.
While Queen Bee is having a look at some of our messages, I can see she's trying to check because our viewers are very excited. While she's doing that, we're going through the next subject, which is sexual harassment against women. And we cannot be discussing women without discussing the sexuality of women because it seems to be the one area that incites all these other issues, because usually you are not allowed to do ABC because of your sex, or you achieve certain things and then those achievements are linked to your sexual orientation. You got this because you slept with so and so and so forth. And just recently, even in Hollywood, all over the world actually, not just in Ghana, women have been coming out, claiming sexual harassment from even their bosses.
The
that's the Me Too campaign. So many things. So now let's discuss this. In Ghana, the challenges of dealing with this trend. How are we dealing? Do we even talk about it in Ghana? Is there such a thing as sexual harassment? Do people leave? Do we?
Not until now. I think in Ghana it was forbidden for you to even introduce the word sex. But I think right now...
Cultural issues.
Right now, a lot of people are getting educated. Even as a mother, you can start educating your children on sex education and all of that. Those things. But coming to sexual harassment at the workplace, to begin with, I see it as an insult for you to do something to me before you give me something. So in order for us to avoid those things, we should also strive. And then we believe in ourselves that we don't need a man to get wherever we are. And that really starts from us. I don't see why I will have to give myself to someone for a favor when I know I am qualified or I am able to occupy a position. You should get positions on merit and not because of what you do with your opposite sex.
I mean, in Ghana today, and once again, this is a global issue. In Ghana today, a lot of young women have been made to believe that you have to actually give yourself to get a job. And for me, I think that is worrying. How did we get here in the first place?
Can I tell you something very personal that happened to me when I wanted to do my national service some 20 years ago? I wanted to be in Accra. So I get to the secretariat and I meet this young man who is very much close to the director. So I used to go, I wanted to be in Accra. He said, oh, I will help you get the Accra post. And then every day I was there for like 5, 6, 7 days. Finally, he tells me, yes, I'll be able to put you in Accra. But no sex, no Accra. And it was straight to the point like that. And that jolted me. I was like, no sex, no Accra. This is not possible. So I said, no, let me go and actually see where I was posted. And I went to the board. And then I was posted to 2nd D. So I said, okay, I will go to 2nd D. Let me make this choice. So sexual harassment harassment is everywhere. Up till now, we have it. But fortunately, we have some institutions that have the policy, sexual harassment policy, but the implementation of it is very, very important at the workplace. And unfortunately, when you work hard as a woman to get to a position, society attributes it that you have slept your way through, which is very, very bad. We need to debunk that.
Sure.
And we need to state it clearly that women don't get their positions because they have slept their way through. And we need to be vocal about it. And anybody who is being harassed, any woman who is being harassed, especially the young ones who are being harassed to get position, they should come out with it. We should have a hotline, for instance, who they can call, which line they can call and say, this is what is happening to me at the workplace, so that we can really name and shame and get this out of our society.
But Reverend, don't you think that is exactly the problem? Because there's a stigma that comes with it as well. I mean, just recently in the news, there was a case about a young girl who had been raped or molested rather, because she's underage, you know, and when she said it was the uncle, automatically everybody came back and blamed her. And said, we always suspected that you are those kind of girls, naughty girl, you know. So now placing the blame on the victim, the person that we're supposed to be crying with. And it happens even in other countries where if an elderly woman comes out. I mean, in South Africa some years ago, a woman came out and claimed our former president, Zuma, had raped her.
Yeah.
Do you know that she ended up being the enemy of the whole nation? The poor woman had to even leave the country for her to have sanity in her life. So why would any woman or girl come out and even tell somebody that this man touched me, or this, if she knows that even her own fellow women will be looking at her like it was her fault. Maybe she was too suggestive, or maybe Queen Bee's dress is too short. And so as a result,
What are you insinuating?
Yeah, so as a result, look at your legs. So that means they're inviting, I can touch. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if I touch her and she says no, what were you expecting? I mean, if you know you're attractive and your leg is strong and I touch it, you shouldn't have a problem. That is the perception in our society
You hit
today.
it right on the head.
How do we move past this?
More and more sensitization, and we should have a kind of support system among women. This kind of programs, we need to do much more of them and vocally speak about them, because when we hear a woman or a lady has been violated, we should be able to, even if it's about 15% of women shouting against that kind of act, we will make enough noise. But when we sit back and allow those who are siding with the perpetrator and we are silent, then we are not helping. And if we talk once in a while about it, we are not contributing enough. We should all the time talk about it. And we should have a kind of system that people are able to report to. Look, when we are talking about rape and sexual violence, if you go to Liberia, for instance, it is there. But there are mechanisms that have been put in place by women and run by women that is putting a stop to that, right from the community to the region and then to the national level. So it is possible. It is only if we put in place mechanisms.
And we go to the police station. Who is likely the officer you meet when you report? Likely it's a male.
It's a whole lot of issues that come to play, and I'm so excited that you actually put this out. I mean, back in the day when any such thing happened, you, the victim, are rather blamed for, you know, the rather unfortunate, you know, incident that happened. Unfortunately, we've been speaking to it, but I think that we probably are not, you know, shouting loud enough.
We are not.
Yes, because then we wait till the day. After today, I'm actually waiting to see exactly what role that myself, for instance, Lerato, yourself, all of us women, especially in the media, would use our platforms to do, so we can move the conversation.
It's good that you're even
forward.
talking about media, because right now social media is the one even prevalent on fueling out these ideas, because now we have placed a woman only on the basis of how she appears. Her looks, what she wears and everything, and not really content. And I think social media plays a very huge role, because we focus too much on appearances, you know, and these are the things that instigate such you know, false appearances. If you want people to take us seriously, we have to present more than just our looks
Of course.
to the world.
Of course. Indeed, this one says that on the issue of Mrs. Rawlings running for the presidency, how many women in the country stood with her because in percentage-wise, women are more than men in Ghana, so that women would have been Ghana's, or so that that woman could have been Ghana's leader, or a woman could have been Ghana's leader long ago. Indeed, I think
painful issue.
The last population, survey that was done, was it 2010 or so?
Yeah,
we know that the figure stood at 51% or so. And so we formed the vast majority of the population, yet we're the most deprived in all sectors. Let's wrap up. I don't know if you can.
No. Unfortunately, I mean, because of time, we'd have to wrap up. Remember, we are also crossing over to another powerful woman who is standing by at Star FM Online. That is our second lady, Samira. But now, for the sake of our guests, I mean, very important. So it's all about unity. Women, we are not standing together. That is what it says at the bottom line. These are our wonderful guests in studio. Hajia Abibata Shani Mahama Zakaria, Deputy CEO of Meslock, and on my far right, Reverend Bajo Birch, Program Officer of Women in Peacebuilding Network, West African Network for Peacebuilding. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right. Well, listen, as well, I mean, for the sake of time, we would have found out, in fact, I was trying to find out from you, even as a career woman, how that we could be working towards stamping our authority, in our various workplaces, wherever that we find ourselves. But these are conversations that will be happening. I mean, we'll be having, especially today, as all of these, platforms come up to celebrate all of our achievements. Let's enjoy this video. Becca, one of our own, and this is a big one for me, and I'm dedicating it, if you like, to all of you wonderful women who are watching us. And remember
birthday,
that we have. Oh, it's Sawa's birthday. Okay, so Sawa, here, it's your birthday today. And of course, Sawa on Ago TV as well. It's your birthday.
Here, and the Sawa from Ago TV, happy birthday.
Every day in the mirror, I see a woman. And every time I look in my mind,